All right. Recording. All known. So thanks for joining us today. I'm going to go through this information pretty quickly so that way we can get you on with your day. There are a couple of people live with me because we're coming to Cat Facts meeting this afternoon, so there's people in the room as well with me, so it's not just me looking at my screen talking to nobody. So let's get it. So in this, we're just going to review the numbers for 2017 conference, go over your changes, talk about the event schedules and the day of process, what your event looks like, and then finish up with some questions. So just important dates to be reminded of, that March 17th, all those participants that are going to be on Thursday night will be notified, and all competitive event schedules will be released. So I'll talk about where they'll be released later. Pay for state conference is due March 31st, but affiliation is not due until May 31st. So you have time for your affiliation registration for conference. It's due March 31st. It must be postmarked by that date. And then those of you who are either progressing on to the national conference or would like to attend the national conference, the meeting will happen immediately following your assigned closing session on April 15th. And that's also the day that the NLC registration website opens up for Colorado. So this is what the event numbers look like. This has over 1,100 students, advisors, and members registered for the conference. We have 809 competitors. That's 296 individuals and 224 teams. About 170 judges, and we're currently at 143. I need 40 more. I know that's over 170, but believe it or not, we have people that don't show up day of or sign up and never even tell us anything. So I always like to have a little buffer so that way I can push people into events. So this is my plea. If you know people who haven't signed up to judge or know somebody, it could be your husband, wife, mother, father, brother, sister, best friend, I don't know who it is. My two requirements are that they have showered and that they can read. And the shower is kind of negotiable at this point. So, joke, but I'm not. So just that's my plea for judges. And so if you have anything, feel free to email me your name and the email, and I'll reach out to them if you didn't want to. So, the numbers, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to look at your event. Just as you read this, you find your events. You can find me are in the junior, senior, occupational category, and your total and your number of judges. If you see that there's a black, that means that that category is not allowed for that event. So if you see shared, maybe sharing judges, and so I've emailed those people specifically so that they know that they're sharing judges. So these will fluctuate a little bit. Some may be a little bit higher, some may be a little bit lower, because there are changes that are able to wait until 6 p.m. this Friday, and then there's also students that also drop out between now and state conference. So more seconds, then I'll go to the next 7. This is that fashion design through interior design. Last step. When it's team events, it's not individuals, it's teams. So like interpersonal communications, that's 3 teams, 8 teams, 0 teams. But an individual event like job interview, that's 8 participants or 2 participants. So you may have more students, but they may be on a team, just to remind you. Moving on. If a section has more than one set of judges, you have to have runoffs. These are the events that will have runoffs this year, and this is in the senior category. Just a little bit of explanation with runoffs. You'll take the top 2 gold medal winners from each set of judges, and they will progress on to runoff. You'll take 1 or 2 judges from each set of original panels, take a new panel of 3 judges, and they will represent their project, the first and second, the top 2 of each, to determine the first and second place. Please keep that they get the original medal. They don't get a different medal. This is just determine first and second place and who will progress on to the nationals. So like with life event planning, they have 3 sets of senior judges. Take 6 to 2 from each panel, and they'll take 1 judge from each panel. But like National Programs in Action only has 2 sets of senior judges, so they'll take 4 to 2 from each, 2 sets of judges or 2 judges from 1 set and 1 from the other to make a new panel of 3. This is it's less than projected, so we're good to go this year. So events that require testing will happen on site. So live math or culinary management will happen from 2 to 3 p.m. on that Thursday, and elementary procedure will happen from 1:15 to 2 p.m. The only 2 events that require testing, the culinary arts event dropped the test for this year. It's no longer part of the event. As leads, you don't have to proctor the test. The event or the conference interns will run that for you, and you will just get the test that next already graded, ready to go for you. You're more than welcome to look them up in case you want to make sure that the interns did fine, but they'll grade them for you so you're ready to go. All you have to do is put in the numbers. So changes this year. This one's not a change this year, but it does bear repeating. There is no on-site orientation for every event except for culinary arts events. To do the orientation video and online form. That online form must be received by midnight on March 31st. The form this year actually shuts off at midnight, so you can't put in any information afterwards. So that is the date. But if your culinary arts event, be an on-site orientation the day of your event for that specific, just to show where things are. Here's your sink. Here is the major equipment. So, event will have a event and answer session from 2 to 3 p.m. on that Thursday, and that's just a chance for any last-minute questions by a student. And all of the events are going to happen at the same time. They just come in during this time, answer a question. If you don't have any questions, you're good to go. Judge gets a gift and a pencil this year. There'll be sessions like last year, but just again, 2 closing sessions. And all events except for culinary arts, baking and pastry, early childhood education, fashion stylist, and teach and train will be at the hotel. The other culinary arts will be at Metro State, baking and pastry will be at Scotier, early childhood and teach and train will be at UCD or the University of Colorado at Denver, and fashion stylist will be at a department store within walking distance of the hotel. So, just for those needs that may get a preview, will be environmental ambassador, gourmet savory, gourmet sweet, and leadership. Environmental ambassador and leadership, they were requested to be on Thursday, and gourmet savory and gourmet sweet, because of the issue of the food, weapons on Thursday evenings. So the total for Thursday event, so judges orientation dinner will happen at 6 p.m. at the hotel, and competitions start at 7 to 10:30 p.m. that evening. So part of the national guidelines are you have to submit a STAR event summary project or project summary form. National FCCLA uses this data to get money on really show what we do. I get the information and I share it with the governor, and it's really powerful information to know exactly what our students have learned in the event, how many people that we've affected, of information that's just nice. And so when I go to ask people for money, they are really impressed by those things. So, and it's also just an impressive statistic to have no other CTSO actually get this information, what our competitive events do for students and the community. So this the online proof of submission looks like for that piece. You don't have to print anything out for this or anything. They have to show this to you. You don't have it. All participant times will be available by March 17th. Scheduling week, so they may be available earlier, but my drop-dead deadline is by March 17th. You'll log on to the registration website and click View Schedule. I'm going to do a walkthrough real quick on this. So once you log in, this is it's from here, but it's the exact same look. Once you'll see at the bottom, it'll say View Conference Schedule. You'll click on that. You'll have a drop-down of how you want to view it. You can view it by event, or you can view it by participant, however you would like to get your report. So then you would push Display Report. Then list your students, what time, what room, all of the information that you need to know for these pieces. Please in mind that these may change, and so once you register, once you get on site, you will get an updated copy based upon students dropping out different types of things. Process, how it looks like on an overview. So at 11 a.m. on that Thursday, we'll have an event chairs meeting. This will be some last-minute information for you to get your event box, different types of last-minute things that may or may not be happening. An informational Q&A session from 2 to 3 p.m. You have invitation depending upon what time it is on Friday night. That's at 6. Everybody else, that's at 7:45 on that day. If you're not a Thursday event, have your competition. You'll check out, and you'll verify your scores upon checkout. Like last year, you're not to leave that room until you verify that your scores are correct. That way you don't have to come back. We don't have to track you down. You're making sure your scores are correct, so that way we try to give the right medal to the right students and make as many mistakes as we can. Each intern, there are going to be 6 interns this year, different locations, and assigned a section, and you'll find out who they are at that 11 a.m. meeting. You'll find out who your intern will be, so that way you can, as that contact. Then you'll go into, after you find out who it is, you'll review room setup. In your box will have a diagram how it's supposed to look. If it's wrong, contact the conference intern so that way they can fix it. You'll check students, you'll review judges' scores, enter them into the spreadsheet, so they'll show you what those look like here in a second. Please make sure your judges are within 10 points of each other, so that way it gives the most accurate score that we can for the student. Write your notes to the judges, give them their gift, and you'll check out in Director's Row E. This is the day of process. It seems very simple on paper, but it's arduous and cumbersome. So the event box looks like, for those of you who never haven't seen one before, you'll see your names on the outside of your event. Inside of this little label, there are 2 ribbons that say consultant. You can add those to your name tag. So some of you play the name tag game of who can get the longest ribbon, so they'll be there as well. The first section, that is, it'll say event information. You'll notice there's a sign-in sheet, your schedule, and any other information that you may have for that event. So advocacy, it was the box I pulled for this example. They have a case study and a case study form. If it doesn't have anything else, you'll just have the sign sheet and the schedule. The folder is all of your rubrics. They're divided up by junior, senior, and occupational. They're going to be paper clipped together, and they'll be in alphabetical order. So you just sort them into order in which they're competing, but the computer system prints them out in alphabetical order. Is your flash drive tab, so your flash drive will be in here in this nice little folder for you. This last, you'll have your volunteer handbook and extra rubrics and point summary forms. These blank, so that in case the judge messes up the rubric, you can pull another one out of here. So this is a blank as well. It's going to be pencils, calculators. When I took this, the gift was those red bags. This year, it's a nice little red luggage tag because we're on a travel theme. It's a nice little cool FCCLA luggage tag. And the gift for you as well. Some event consultants don't take theirs, and I have a lot of stuff left, so please take luggage tag. So you should have received in an email a link to a event management handbook. It's on Drive. So this one, I forgot what I chose, so we're going to be surprised you are where we're going. But instead of the notebooks that we used to do that took a couple days to put together and then nobody used them in the paper waste, hopefully it goes. Everything is online this year and released beforehand. So the way any tool you'll need before. This will also be saved on the flash drive, but I wanted to make sure that you had it beforehand. And of course, now not working. So if you received that flash drive, I can't go to it for some reason. Our browser, welcome to the state system, is not working. But so if you didn't receive that link to that handbook, please let me know, and I'll be happy to email it to you. So the sheet looks like this, but it'll be in Excel. This is just a screenshot of it with some information added to it. Please open it up. Make sure that you are entering the information to the right. This one's for Advocacy Junior. Make sure you're using the right set of judges. Make sure you have the correct number of evaluators. Some of you may have 2, depending upon if people show up. Some of you may, hopefully, will have 3. So make sure you change that to the correct number of evaluators, because the rest of the calculations will automatically change based on the number of evaluators you enter there. All of the names, numbers, chapters, and states and stuff, you can change. It's protected, and that's just because when we upload them into the computer, if it's not exactly as it came out of the computer, it won't upload. So that's to make sure that the information is correct and you can't change it. This is the same thing. It just shows how it looks. You won't have 2 spreadsheets. This is just showing you how it looks. So enter your scores here. If you enter something that's wrong, you get this little box that says retry. That means if you entered a decimal, you can't have half points on anything. That's an FCCLA rule. You can't give them a 75.5. It has to be a 75 or it has to be a 76. You can't do a point on that. In scores can have points, but you can't put a decimal in actual evaluator scores. And so if you don't enter the correct number from 1 or 0 to 100, or how many ever your event equals in that piece, it'll ask you to retry. All this information, the total, the percentage, and the medal will automatically generate based on the calculations that you put for evaluator 1, evaluator 2, and evaluator 3. So that is the spreadsheet. Make sure you save often. You save back to the flash drive. We've gotten into some issues where people have saved it only to their computer, and then they can't turn back on their computer, or they can't do lots of stuff. Lots of things have happened. Make sure you save it to the flash drive that we're able to get the information out. So event checkout, once you are done with your event and you've written your thank you notes and you said goodbye to your judges, you'll come back to Director's Row E, a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet that you saw will be printed out. We'll put the scores in the system. We'll print that sheet out, and then you'll compare the 2 together to make sure the correct score is in for the correct student, and then you'll send those. We'll put those away. While we're waiting for the scores to go, you can paperclip the correct sticker to the rubric. So if they got a bronze, you'll put the correct sticker on it. And then you don't have to drop them into the take-home bags. We have conference interns or state officers to do that because their eyes are better than ours and they have more energy. And so they'll drop them into the bag. And don't drop them into the bags until we make sure that your scores are correct, because just in case you need to pull back out that rubric and be like, oh, it was this score, not this. So you are free to go. So I'm going to unmute everybody. I apologize if there's any loud, obnoxious noises that come from background noise, but I'm here to answer any questions. So everybody should be muted, so feel free to answer or ask questions. You all free to ask questions too.
I have a question about the printing. They have a facility where we can plug in the flash drive to print. Is that true?
So that all happens with us. You don't have to print any of that. You just bring your box back. I have computers and stuff for us to plug things in and print. So
okay.
You don't have to print anything. It's you just bring the box back, hand us the flash drive, and we do all the rest.
I have a question about the online form. said, do we have to have one for each team or one for that?
So, what form are you talking about? The online submission or the orientation form?
Both of them.
So, you just have one per team. Each person does not have it. It's just one per team.
Okay, and then on the event project summary form, did I hear you say we don't print them?
So, the event leads don't have to. You don't have to do anything because meaning the participant has to have them some sort of in their display or in their portfolio or in their file folder.
So I got it.
Mm-hmm.
So that I fill out.
Yep, go ahead.
So that I use that then from their display to fill out that front paper.
Correct.
On the event.
Correct. And I provide you all event leads with a list of who from your event has done the event orientation for. I provide you that list right there.
Okay.
If they're not on that list, then you don't give them the points for attending orientation.
Sure.
Any other questions?
Hey, Rob,
Yes.
is there any way I'd be able to check out the kitchen at MSU before the actual event?
So I'll email both you and Jeff because we're going to set up a day where you can go out and check it out and answer any questions.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, you said the Q&A is from 2 to 3?
Yes.
And then the competition. So none of the competitions start till after 3?
So the competitions that are on Thursday happen until 7 p.m., and then the other competitions don't happen until Friday. I've minimized the number of competitions on Thursday night because opening session is from 4 to 6:30. So after that, 3 o'clock, you'll move on to the opening session, and that will be at the Ellie Calkins Opera House this year.
Hey, Rob, on the Q&A time period, is that just a open room where they come in and ask us questions so we sit there for an hour, or is it everybody shows up at 2 and we answer any questions? What's that look like?
This is how I envision it going, and it may or may not because some things don't happen the way that I want them. You're there for an entire hour, and that entire hour, and if it's a kid comes up for, let's say, fashion construction, and they're like, I have this question about my event, do I need those selection rubrics? And you're like, yes, you need to have that skill sheet. And then they'll do it. My guess is most of them will show up directly at 2 o'clock, and by like 2:15, there's literally going to be nobody else in the room.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Rob?
Hold on one second. Go ahead. Yeah. So hold on, there's somebody asking a question in the room. Question was, what was the deadline for watching the online orientation video? And that is by midnight on March 31st. That's the cutoff date. Yeah, and then so the gentleman on the phone.
Rob, that was me.
Okay.
Hey, I had a question about the STAR event. You said that the STAR event participants, they'll get their orientation on site, so do not have to do the online orientation then?
No, still do the online or on-site orientation for all of the culinary-based events are for you to kind of do an orientation of the kitchen or facility that you're at, so that way during the competition they're not, where do I go to watch? Where's the refrigerator? Where's the big oven? Where's whatever it is? And
thank you.
One more question.
Yeah.
Link that you couldn't open, is that just the STAR event competition event rules?
So that's how. So in all of that, let's see if I can open up one using Google here. That literally is just everything that you're going to need to run your event. It's got some really cool information in there. It's all shared on Drive. So, okay, Google's working right now. So, we're on the run. Hold on, wrong. The wrong account. I can't. There we go. Sorry, you guys are thinking I'm clicking on something random, but there is literally something you all can't see and tell me who's here, so preventing me from clicking. Give me 1 second. So this you will all see when you open that link. It'll have a whole bunch of information from the Colorado event-specific rules, your volunteer handbook, the actual event guidelines, your event sorcery, what responsibilities look like, evaluation, suggestions. This is kind of new this year because we have sentence stems for people to kind of help influence judges to write comments. So we add some things to kind of help give them some information like, oh, explain what, so that way they can help get some comfort people and event consultants, management techniques, your basic FCCLA information, the same spreadsheet about filling out the USB things, make changes to events, how to do orientation with your evaluators, and how to do an orientation with your students. I put both up there just in case you wanted to know what those look like. So this is everything that used to be in those physical notebooks, but it's now online, and it'll also be on your flash drive, so that way you don't have to save it to your personal computer.
So do we find out? Would you title it?
It was a link sent out to you, so Tracy, I'll send that back out to you in a separate email.
Okay.
You didn't get it, so I'm sure that you get it. Any questions? Yes.
I am fashion stylist off-site, and last year I had to drive around and get breakfast. I was hoping not to bring my car this year just because it's so expensive. Wondering if one of us is going to need that.
For fast stylists, it is within walking distance of the hotel. So,
Okay.
So, and the place you'll get breakfast is at the hotel to walk over. So.
Great. Thank you.
All right, so thank you all for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and close this session. We'll see you in a couple days, or a couple weeks, excuse me, not days. Don't do that to myself. So we'll see you in a couple weeks, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you.